Think about social media, particularly video type social media, is there's not many people that can do it. When I started on YouTube and other types of platforms, I kind of took it for granted, and to me it kind of felt odd. Like, I don't know, there isn't a lot of people doing this, and you think about it, there is a reason to doing it. I think people just lack that confidence to come on, show their face, run their mouth, talk about what's in their head, and put it out there. And I was thinking, I've taken speech classes before and got up and talked in front of people, and I thought about even joining Toastmasters. And getting up in front of people, like one time someone told me I'm really, really, really good, or if I'm bad that day, I'm really, really bad. I don't know. It's kind of like, to me, I always kind of equated it with jumping in the pool. You ever like jump in a pool and it's like you dip your toe in and it's like, ooh, that's cold. But then maybe if you ever fully immersed in the pool and at first it's really uncomfortable, but then after a while it's like, oh, that feels kind of good. That's actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Everything kind of adjusts to the water. That's, to me, I've kind of looked at public speaking as in this type of stuff as the same thing. It's just kind of like, and it's like, oh yeah, whoa, look at that. That was really cringe. That's really cringe, going out there and talking like that. But then after I look at it, I thought, oh, it's not so bad. I'm not doing something terrible by coming on and telling people what I think. It's not horrible. I mean, some people come in the comments and act like it's horrible, but whatever. It's like, why aren't they doing it? Why can't they talk? Can they get on and do their own channel and talk? And I say, why don't you start your own channel if you got such a strong opinion about it? And I realize a lot of people can't. Not a lot of people can't. It's kind of it's kind of not just. I'm not talking just. And I'm first I thought, well, it's not that hard to learn how to operate a camera. It's not that hard to learn how to operate editing software. It's not that hard to learn how to drop sound into soundtracks and record narration and stuff like that. That's not that difficult. Why don't more people learn this? And I just realized later, it's the same thing that stops them from public speaking. It's the concept of that it's that they're scared. They're scared to come up and talk in front of people. And someone once told me, I didn't really look up the stat or who came up with the idea, but they said that public speaking is actually like the second most biggest fear people have next to dying. That some people would rather die, literally would rather die than get in front of a crowd and run their mouths and talk about what they're thinking and or talk about a subject matter. They're just scared. And there is certain things that do happen. I've heard that that person's circulation may elevate slightly when they get up in front of a group of people. I don't know if that has to go with, back to the tribal days where if someone was scared to screw up, they'd get banished from the tribe. I don't know if that's the type of thing if that's like ingrained in us evolutionarily, like, oh, if I get shunned by the tribe for getting up and saying something at the tribal council, they'll banish me and I'll die out in the wilderness because I won't have access to goods and services. And in a way, some of these, and it's kind of funny, isn't that funny? Certain groups on social media platforms can be that way or have been that way in the past, where if somebody gets a little out of turn at the council, or they don't recognize the leadership at the council, that they can kind of have to go out into the wilderness and build their hut and fend for themselves. Is it changed that much? And I think a lot of those fears kind of come into the let's see, what would it be, 23rd century, and still kind of hang on in various forms. And one of those forms might be the fear of public speaking, the fear of getting up and talking and talking about whatever. So, and I realize that a lot of people are scared of that. And some people don't want to mess with the filming. Some people don't want to set up a camera and film what they're doing or film a video. So they hire people to come film for them. That's great. But you know what? I think I notice a lot more people are getting comfortable with being the star of their own movie. There was I think it was some few people were, let's see, what is it? Bob Proctor, or was it Bob Proctor? Or I don't know who actually came up with the concept, but someone talked about talked about the concept of, are you the star of your own movie? Or are you just an extra in your own movie and you're allowing other people to be the stars? Like are you kind of like in your own, you have your own movie, your life, and it's like, are you just kind of, well, I'm just an extra in someone else's greater movie that's better than my movie. I'm just an extra. Or are you the star of your own movie? I mean, it is your movie. Your life is like your movie, and you should be the star of your own movie. And I think a lot more knife makers are starting to kind of become the stars of their own movie. They're actually saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm not afraid to use video and streaming as a tool to get out into the world what I do." And most other people in the other types of craftsmanship are saying, "Hey, I'm now going to treat my career like it was a movie, and I'm going to document parts of it and talk about what I do, way I do certain things, and show people the processes that I go through to make not just knife making, but anything, make paintings, make drawings, make anything." I mean, journaling. I started journaling a while back. I need to get back into it. I do think for me at least, there are actually some active like benefits for doing it. I do feel a lot better when I do it. And she keeps moving around in a circle, so I keep moving with me, so it kind of goes in and out of frame here. I'm kind of noticing that that like I did feel better when I journaled, for whatever reason. Maybe that's kind of like a form of putting out my thoughts without actually putting them out there. So I think it does help. But anyway, are people the star of their own movie? And I'm finding that most artisans and knife makers are getting more comfortable with being in front of the camera. They are getting more comfortable with documenting parts of their career. They are getting more comfortable with the concept of, get out there, show what you do, put it on film. Don't be afraid to talk to the camera, and use that to interest people in what they make and what they do, and perhaps maybe even drive some business. So it's good to see that there are people that are becoming the star, literally the star of their own movie, by making movies about what they do. Okay. And I never thought, I never heard of that till this year. I've read a few books on how to speak in public. I've read a few self-help things, a few finance books, but I never heard of the concept of the star of your own movie. The concept that it's like, kind of like, well, yeah, certain times I do kind of feel like I'm an extra. I'm in the background, sipping a cup of coffee at a cafe, and they're viewing the side of my face, or whatever, or I'm sitting there reading the paper, and the actual star of the movie's in front of me with the camera on them, and I'm just there to kind of fill the scene and fill the background. Have you ever been invited to a party? You ever been invited to a party and you show up and you think that, well, this is going to be kind of a small maybe get together or whatever, and the host invites you, and you're like, we're thinking, well, I'm good friends with the host. And you kind of go in and you talk to somebody, and you talk to your host. The host comes up, "Oh, I'm so glad you made it. Thank you for coming today. Yeah, we got drinks over in the cooler. We got hors d'oeuvres on the table. Well, I gotta go and talk to my other guests. And yeah, thank you for coming. Just make yourself at home." And maybe you only talk to them like another time in the middle of that party, and you talk to them maybe before you leave. And then the rest of the time, it's like, well, what do I do? Well, it's up to you to make your own friends. So it's kind of like, at first it's like, well, I'm like an extra in this man or woman's movie by being invited to this party. It's like I'm an extra. I'm just a wallflower there to fill the room while the other stars of the movie circle about, and it's more about them. I'm just like, I was just hired as an extra, so I'll go and make myself a little cheese plate, maybe get some beer or wine or soda, and make myself at home, and I'll just kind of stand in the background and act as filler for the camera. Do I want to do that? Do I want to do that? Or do I say, hey, this is an opportunity to be like a star in my movie that